Your mental health matters. I don't care what any of these online gurus tell you, any of these hustle culture, oh, you gotta do this or do that, and your mental health doesn't matter, and as a man, you shouldn't care about how you feel and this or that. Well, to some extent, you have to be able to take action despite how you feel. Of course, you're gonna have times in your life to where things are gonna be difficult. You're gonna have times in your life to where you don't want to do a certain thing and you have to do it anyway. But I don't want you guys to fall for the trap that a lot of men fall for, and then a few years go by, a few months go by even, and you're burnt out, and you've neglected your mental health so much that you just completely implode. Right now, let me backtrack and give you guys some context on who I actually am and in the story of my life, right? So I grew up the smallest guy in the room. I was literally like 5 foot even in high school. I was 90 pounds. I hated myself. I had no security. I had no confidence. And with that came a ton of bullying. I grew up with really no real father figure in my life, so I had a lot of pain from that. I had my godfather, but I always grew up with a little bit of resentment in my household. You know, growing up, I wasn't poor, but you know, we weren't always super stable. For most of the time, we weren't very, very stable, so that came with stress as well. So you bring already kind of like luck of the draw, or I guess unluck of the draw, and then on top of that, you're putting self-hate and you're putting bullying on top of this on a kid that's never really experienced much outside of, you know, this reality that he's living in. Like, it was so much for me to handle. So fast track, I ended up falling into a deep depression. And this is the trap that a lot of you guys are falling for already, or can potentially fall for, that I don't want you guys to. I fell for the trap of thinking I'm a man or I'm a guy and I feel this way and I should be ashamed of it and I should bottle it up and I should act like I'm okay and I shouldn't, you know, try to go out and get any type of help, and I should just keep this to myself and wear a mask, right? That's what is being pushed now, especially on social media, with these OnlyFans whores, with these freaking idiotic people on the internet sitting here saying, oh, if you're a man, you shouldn't do this. If you're a man, you should do all this stuff, and your emotions don't matter. This doesn't matter. Your mental health isn't valid or anything like that, bro. That is what's normal now. But I don't want you guys to fall for that trap, because it is vicious. It's terrible, because it's only going to put you in a disruptive or in a destructive cycle, to where if you feel a certain way, you bottle it up, you act like you're okay, and you mask it, like I said before. And this is exactly what happened to me. Anytime I would go to school, anytime I was around my family, anytime that, you know, I was around anyone else, everybody thought of me as this happy, you could ask the people around me, this happy kid. He's always smiling, he's always laughing, he's always joking, he never lets anything get to him. And that is what I wanted them to see on the outside, but on the inside was the complete opposite. Everything was getting to me. All the comments about my body, how skinny I was and how short I was, and you know, the fact that nobody really respected me, so they would push me around and they wouldn't treat me like I was, you know, a regular human being, basically, or they wouldn't treat me like they would treat all the other guys around me. You know, that got to me, and this internal monologue started to speak to me like, you're not enough, you're, you know, you'll be better off if you were just gone, or everybody around you would be better off if you were just gone, and so on and so forth. And fast forward, I ended up trying to kill myself when I was 14 years old. I tried to hang myself in my room. And the only reason why I didn't end up doing that is because my stepbrother ran into the room randomly, like just bursted into my room and stopped me from doing it. Well, he didn't physically stop me, but him coming in, like, I had took everything off of my neck and I just played it off like a joke, like ha ha he. And then he even ended up making jokes about it, which was just like ridiculous, right? And throughout my whole life, from, you know, me being a younger teen to me being later in my teens, I've always struggled with mental health, or I always struggled with mental health, because I never got down to the root of why I felt the way that I felt, or why I thought the way that I did, or why I have these subconscious patterns that are going on in my head that are destroying me. Right? So fast forward a few years with this same mindset that I've been psyoped into thinking that, okay, this is the only way that I'm supposed to feel, and I can't let anyone else know about it. I went to unhealthy coping mechanisms, looking like drugs, parties, other women, freaking pornography, like all this stuff to just mask the way that I was feeling. And the biggest thing that I used to cope with it was drugs. And I talk about this in my content on Instagram so much. Like, I know some of you guys might be coming from these silly posts that I post on Instagram that, you know, get views, but you're able to see, like, dude, I've actually lived through some things. Like, when I was in college and I was at the peak degeneracy state of my life, where I was just smoking weed every day, when I was just drinking all the time and partying all the time, is because I felt so much and I didn't know how to handle it. And the only thing that I thought made the most sense for me to do at that time was to escape that pain, was to escape that reality. So I went to drugs. I would literally be high all the time, because at that moment in my life, I was in college, I was in cybersecurity. I didn't like the path that I was on. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And on top of that, I felt like I was trapped, right? And fast forward, obviously I'm in a much better spot now, but the biggest thing that I want you guys to take away from this, because I'm not going to go in a big spew about, you know, like my whole life, because if you go through my previous videos, you'll see I literally have everything on this channel. The biggest takeaway that I want you guys to have from this is that your mental health, as a man especially, matters. Don't push it under the rug. Don't run to these unhealthy coping mechanisms. If you feel like you need help, if you feel like you're drowning, go and ask for help. Go to people that you trust. Go to your church, go to your pastor, go to psychiatrists if you need to. Therapists, I have a really, you know, sort of like weird feeling about them, because some of them are great, but I remember one of my therapists would literally talk trash about some of his clients to me. And I remember I got diagnosed with depersonalization and derealization disorder and depressive disorder, and I was on inositol hydrochloride or something like that. And I remember talking to this guy. I'm like, dude, I don't feel real. I feel like I'm freaking tweaking out. I feel like I'm losing my mind. I don't feel like a regular human being. And he was like, okay, just up the dose. And then I was like, no, this is how I feel. He's like, all right, half the dose. So some of these guys, they don't freaking help you. But what I want you to do, or what I at least want you to know from watching this, is that you're not alone in the battle that you're fighting right now. You're not alone in dealing with suicidal thoughts or suicidal ideology or being depressed or feeling lost. And even, like, for me especially, even knowing, like, I'm not in complete isolation with this. There are men who have been through this, who've gotten through it. There's men who are going through this right now. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with me. There's just certain things that I need to change in order to feel better. That's when so much started to open up for me. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be an end-all, be-all for your mental health. I know you guys watching this, you could be going through something extreme, but I want you to take away this. This is what I want you to take away from this. You know, I'm freaking butchering this video, but who cares? Keep going. Your mental health matters. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. And if you're a man especially and you're struggling with your mental health, just know it will get better. And just keep showing up one more day. And after that, show up for another day. And after that, show up for another day. And I promise you, as someone who was suicidal, who was depressed, who was on antipsychotics, who was on drugs, who was doing all of these things and was at the absolute lowest point of his life a few years ago, I can assure you it will get better, and Jesus loves you. All right? I love you guys, and I hope you were able to take some sort of value from this. I'm really enjoying, like, these raw sort of talks. And yeah, if you guys are going through anything, bro, just shoot me a text on Instagram or shoot me a comment under this video, and, you know, I'll read it and I'll respond to it, and I'll give you whatever best advice that I can. I'm not a miracle worker. I'm not Jesus, and I'm not a freaking therapist, but I am someone who's been through stuff, and I understand you, man. So see you guys in the next one.